Hi, my name is Karen Dong, and I'm a rising junior at the University of Delaware, majoring in energy and environmental policy and political science. I worked with Dr. Laura Paul and looked at accurate and accessible flood risk data for more Americans provided by First Street Foundation, or FSF, a nonprofit research group and a new resource to understand and track the risks and impacts of flooding in the U.S. Here I look at some of the weaknesses of older flood models, the improvements made by newer models, and the sorts of research being conducted with this new data. The Foundation has calculated and made public the past, present, and future flood risk of every home and property in the contiguous U.S., using current climate data and adjusting for future environmental factors to identify at-risk properties, which is essential to accurate flood risk models. What we see is that people have previously relied on the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, for their flood data, which unfortunately neglects future climate trends and vastly underrepresents the true risk of millions of households. This map shows a discrepancy between the number of properties at substantial risk as told by FSF compared to FEMA, with the darkest blue states being the states with the largest difference of properties said to be at risk in the FSF model than the FEMA model. FEMA classifies just 8.7 million properties as having substantial risk, where the FSF flood model identifies nearly 70% more with the same level of risk. This means that nearly 6 million households and property owners have underestimated or been unaware of their current risk. There are several additional drawbacks to FEMA and the models they create. Local politicians have a vested interest in keeping flood zones as small as possible in order to save constituents money and allow for more development, and residents may hire surveyors, engineering firms, or lawyers to help challenge and appeal FEMA's preliminary maps. However, the ability to challenge and appeal these maps is contingent on the wealth of these communities, creating inequitable scenarios for less wealthy communities and severely undermining mitigation efforts everywhere. These inaccurate maps can generate all sorts of problems, including unsafe development, inadequate disclosure to homeowners, and severely undermined flood risk mitigation efforts. As seen, this new data is incredibly important to flood risk mitigation efforts and studies in the coming years, and has provided a basis for lots of research regarding flood risk and its impacts. With First Street Foundation's data, university researchers have been able to critically analyze the potential impact of floods on infrastructure, mortgage and housing inefficiencies, government spending and taxes, and vulnerable communities. Here I looked at all the questions that First Street Foundation's 20 university partnerships are researching, and found the frequency and usage of different keywords among these questions. These keywords help us to quickly gain an understanding of the sorts of questions that are being answered with this new data. Some of the words I looked at include markets, housing, insurance, mitigation, adaptation, and climate.